ladies and gentlemen, it is 6:30 on the dot, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the City of Mulberry City Council. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with an invocation in our pledge, and I'm going to turn it over to the Mayor Pro Tem, Michael Rudnick, to introduce our guests tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Surprise guest, Mr. Melvin Everson, former State House Rep, current, remind me, VP of Economic
Community and Governmental Affairs, Gwinnett Technical.
There you go. Vice President, Community and Governmental Affairs, Gwinnett Technical College, and very good all-around guy, I would say. So he's been gracious enough to lead us in a quick invocation and lead us in the pledge. So.
Mayor and Council, let us pray. Father God, we come this evening just to say thank you. Thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. And for tonight's meeting, Father, we pray for these elected officials as they discuss business pertaining to the citizens of the city of Mulberry, that their decision be guided by your anointing and what is pleasing in your sight. And bless all those that are here, who are here to witness and hear the elected officials articulate the issues that are most important to them. And Father, this we pray in your Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So let's say the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
All right, the next item on the agenda, I'm going to go ahead and call the roll. So please announce present if you are here. The first, District 1, we have Tim Sullivan. Present. District 2, that's me, that's Michael Coker, I'm present. District 3, Kyle Shields. District 4, the Mayor Pro Tem, Michael Rudnick.
Present.
And then District 5, Doug Ingram. Madam Clerk, if you could notate that 3 out of the 5 council members are here tonight, so we do have a quorum. The next item is the mayor's opening comments. Just wanted to talk. I know it's been a little while since we've had a meeting. We skipped a couple of weeks there, and so it's good to see everybody, see the familiar faces back again for our next meeting. Couple things, admin things for those of you that may not have been here before. The first is we are going to have public comments as we do at almost all our meetings. If you would like to make a public comment, we have a pad of paper that is up on the podium right here. We just ask you to sign your name or print your name on there so we have a record. We also ask that when you stand up and give a public comment, if you could just state your name, your address, and if you live in one of the districts in Mulberry, which district it is. As you'll notice, we only have 3 of us here tonight. District 3, Kyle Shields, he's on a trip into California, so he obviously couldn't be here with us. And then District 5, Doug Ingram, is all the way in Paris, so I know, must be nice, right? And so they are both out of town on vacation. They have both told me that they will be back for our next meeting, so they will be back at the next meeting. A couple other things I want to talk about. So today was actually a big day in the history of the city of Mulberry. So me, along with our interim city manager, Jamie Palmer, were down at the Capitol today for a couple big things that happened. There were 2 bills that were pending. One is Senate Bill 138, and one is Senate Bill 139. Both were pending. Thanks to the phenomenal leadership that we have at the Capitol, both of those bills passed today. And we are extremely lucky with the representatives we have. Leader Chuck F. Strachan really kind of sherped these bills through. I will tell you, he is dedicated to do whatever he needs to do to make sure this city's a success. And we are very, very lucky to have someone as well respected as he is at the Capitol that is kind of helping us and is always there for us if we need something. There's 2 bills. The first one is Senate. Well, the second person I should not fail to mention is Chairman Senator Clint Dixon as well. So Clint is on the Senate side. He's kind of sherped these 2 bills through the Senate side, and then obviously Leader F. Strachan has done it on our side. Senate Bill 138 basically clarifies what the requirements are for any county during the transition period. Particularly, it's very narrowly tailored. It deals with our situation, But if there was any ambiguity, which I don't think there was, there's definitely not any now, okay? We know exactly what the county's obligated to do during this 2-year transition period, and we know exactly what Mulberry needs to do during this 2-year period. So this is going to help us tremendously have a clear, smooth transition of services between the county to the city. The second bill, Senate Bill 139, you heard me talk about it at one of our last meetings. That is the annexation bill that deals with the properties that are on the fringes of our city. So there's certain commercial centers that we have. Take like Hamilton Mill at 85, right? We had one side of the roadway was the city of Mulberry, the other side was not. Obviously there's issues with that, right? Because then we have no control and no say what happens on the opposite side of the street from our residents. And so Senate Bill 139, what that did, it just kind of cleaned up our edges so that we could pull some of these mostly commercial or undeveloped parcels into the city of Mulberry, so that we could have those in our purview, and then obviously we won't have those concerns with residents who live on one side of the road that are concerned that, you know, what kind of business or what kind of thing is going to go in right across the street from us. So that was Senate Bill 139. Those two bills have moved through both houses of the Georgia legislature. And so what that means is they are on the desk of the governor right now. So we are waiting the governor to sign those. We expect that could be any day now, and that's where we are on those two bills. So again, I want to express much thanks to the legislature for passing those bills, but in particular to Leader Estration and Senator Dixon for really being there for us and helping us when we needed it, and kind of answering our call for help. So that's a big thing that happened today. I do want to update you on another thing that's been going on. I know is probably important to a lot of you. Obviously, one of the main reasons this city was created, right, was because of the traffic and the issues that we deal with. The DOT, we've talked with the DOT. There is a plan in place to redo the intersection of Hamilton Mill at I-85. They have come in. They have a plan. Their concern is that the traffic of people getting off of Hamilton Mill headed northbound, that traffic tends to back all the way back up into I-85, which when you have an 18-wheeler,
half a mile.
right, half a mile or more, and if you have an 18-wheeler that's doing 80 miles an hour and you're at a dead stop waiting to exit that interstate, obviously that's a problem, right? It's a safety issue. So the state DOT's been kind enough to say, hey, we know this is an issue, we're going to come take care of it. We've been emailing back and forth, we've been working with the DOT to see what other options we can do with that intersection, because the plan is to both rework that northbound Hamilton Mill exchange, but also the 124 and Hamilton Mill interchange as well. So we've been emailing with them, we've been working with them. If you have any input you'd like to make, you can always reach out to the DOT representatives as well and talk to them. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to talk to you. But that is in the works, and I do anticipate we will probably start to see some action, you know, within the next few months. You should start to see some of the pins or some of the markings or those kind of things. So just want you to know, your city council's working on that actively. We know that's a major concern that we have here in our city, and so that's one of our top priorities. I believe that concludes everything I have for the mayor's opening comments. We'll move to item F. Does anyone else on the council have an opening comment they'd like to make?
Yeah, I'd just like to tail in on your comment with Leader Estration and Senator Dixon. They've been a hammer for us when we had our backs to the wall with really no thought of how do we get through or get around this. And they've come and helped clarify that with the 138. And it's going to, I think, move things forward. I think it's greased the wheels. Gwinnett County understands we're here to stay. We're not going to go away. So they have to deal with us, and they have to come to the table and work with us. So that's great. I'd just like to make that public. Thank them for their help.
Just to piggyback on that, thank you very much to Leader Estration and Chairman Dixon. We are extremely appreciative, not only as a council, but as a citizen of Mulberry, for the work that they put in at the Capitol. One other side note, I've had one kind of meet and greet here at City Hall a few weeks ago. I'm planning on another one next Saturday. I'll put some information out on social media. Just here, doesn't have to be my district, but if you have questions about Mulberry that you want to ask, I'll usually bring some donuts, and we can have some questions over some donuts probably next Saturday.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on to item G, which is the consideration of tonight's meeting agenda. Is there any items that need to be added or removed from tonight's agenda?
You're from District 1.
I'd like to add under action item D, consideration of the purchase of laptops. I'd like to add cell phones to that as well, if we can. So laptops and cell phones. All right, any other items? All right, then we'll start with the amendment. I'll make a motion to amend tonight's agenda. That would be action item KD, to now read consideration of purchase of laptops and cell phones for assistant city manager and city clerk. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, and any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so by a vote of 3, the amendment is adopted. Then I will make a motion to adopt tonight's meeting agenda for March 13th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. as amended. Do I have a second?
You have a second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 3, tonight's meeting agenda is adopted as amended. The next item, item H, is the consideration of the February 2025 minutes. Has the council had a sufficient time to review those minutes?
Mhm.
Is there any errors or omissions?
Not that I could find.
Okay. I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the February 20th, 2025 minutes as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 3, the February 20th, 2025 minutes are hereby adopted. All right, that brings us to item I, which is the public comments. If anyone would like to make a public comment, Mr. Hughes, you're welcome to come forward.
I'm Steve Hughes. I live at 413 Fort Dixon Court in McCua, Mulberry, and my commissioner is Doug Ingram in District 5. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak today. I have some comments on the timeline of SB 138 and 139, which were mentioned today. On January the 1st, 2025, the city of Mulberry came into existence. On January the 5th, 2025, a notice to amend the Mulberry Charter was published in the Gwinnett Daily Post. This was just 4 days after the first day of operation. On February the 10th, 2025, the public was made aware of that notice of intent by a private individual and not the leaders of the city of Mulberry. On February 10, 2025, SB 138 and 139 were placed in the hopper of the Georgia Senate. On February 20th, 2025, SB 138 passed in the Senate and moved to the House. On February 3rd, 2025, SB 139 passed in the Senate and moved to the House. On March the 13th, 2025, both SB 138 and SB 139 passed in the House, and they will be forwarded to Governor Kemp for his signature and will become law immediately after signing. SB 139 is an act by the state legislature that will amend the Mulberry Charter to include properties that were not part of the original city. It will forcibly annex property without having officially notified the owners or obtained their permission. Citizens will not be given an opportunity to vote on this annexation. The city of Mulberry was launched with a promise of local control. In the matter of SB 139, local control is being redefined to mean the right of the city of Mulberry to annex personal property without officially notifying or obtaining the consent of those who own the land. I remind the public that the devil often hides in the details. And in the matter of SB 139, he has done an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes.
Before we get into that, in the last meeting, you restricted me to 2 minutes, and you would not address any questions that I offered. Now, are Are you fixing to ask me a question?
No, I was just thanking you for your
Oh,
comments.
okay, I thought you were calling me back, I apologize.
No, I was just thanking you for your comments. Thank you. Would anyone else like to make a public comment? Mr. Bremenson?
I have a couple of questions. First of all, Jeff Bremenson, my address is 2995 Millwater Crossing, Mulberry, and part of Hamiltonville subdivision. I have a couple of questions. The first is with zoning. Where does the city sit with rezoning requests?
That's a great question. Typically in these public comments, it's just for you to make a comment. We're not really authorized to answer the questions.
Okay, all right.
But if you want to talk to us afterward, we'd be more than happy to answer those.
Because I have that, and I want to talk
I
about
think
it.
you'll hear about some of that during.
Some of that will be discussed in the meeting, and then we can chat afterwards.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
perfect. All right, thank you, Mr. Bremenson. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Melvin Everson also wrote down to make a public comment.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, Melvin Everson, 1725 Winer Creek Circle, Snellville, Georgia, way out there. City of Mulberry. I'm here in capacity of my title at Gwinnett Technical College. I'm VP of Community and Governmental Affairs. I cover all of Gwinnett cities and Norfolk, where we have a campus. Just to introduce myself, we have a lot of students in Mulberry attending Gwinnett Technical College. As of today, Gwinnett Tech population 11,606 students enrolled at Gwinnett Technical College. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had an announcement by Mazda Automotive to bring on Mazda for their technician program at Gwinnett Tech. And Gwinnett Tech is known for the automotive technician program, as you're very well aware. Mercedes-Benz came on board first, after Chrysler. Mercedes-Benz came on board at about $500,000 for us to create a technician lab for them. And then Ford Asset Train came on board 3 years ago, and now Mazda just announced they're coming on board, and we are doing a $10 million expansion of our automotive technician program. And in addition to that, Tesla and Rivian is knocking at the door. Gwinnett Tech, as I said, we are moving fast and furious, and a lot of parents have begun to realize technical skill, the way things are moving now, these jobs require technical background and certification. I meet with business owners all around Gwinnett County and Norfolk. They are looking for students, workforce with those technical skills. And you can get those certifications at Gwinnett Tech and the 160 different programs we offer. And I might add, a lot of people don't realize this, but you can graduate from Gwinnett Tech and move on to a four-year institution. University of Georgia, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State, Georgia State, Georgia Gwinnett College. As long as we have that articulation agreement between the two institutions. As of today, no student that graduated from Gwinnett Tech has been denied acceptance in a four-year institution. And when you graduate from Gwinnett Tech, regardless of what program you go into, there's a 98% placement rate, you will have a job. If you drill down to a specific program, 86% placement rate, you will have a job when you graduate from Gwinnett Tech. When I say graduate from Gwinnett Tech, I'm talking about excellent paying positions, such as our cybersecurity program. Right now, we have 1,000 students in that program. We had a young lady who graduated with a 2-year associate's degree in cybersecurity. She walked out with the job starting at $60,000. 6 months later, she was up to 85 grand. That's with a 2-year degree. 85 grand, and she does not live in her parents' basement. She's on her own. So that, I'm just here. If you want, I invite you all to come tour Gwinnett Tech. Tomorrow we have Commissioner Kirkland Garden, who's coming to tour the campus there. We have visitors coming to tour that campus all the time. We just did a major renovation of some of the buildings there to the tune of $45 million.
Wow.
And Gwinnett Tech is moving. So thank you so much. Good to see all of you.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all, the Georgia Technical College system, they do phenomenal work here, so thank you. All right, anyone else like to make a public comment? All right, hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the public comment section. That'll bring us to item J on the agenda, which is the second read of some ordinances that we have. So I will turn this over to our Community Development Director, Rebecca Kiefer.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. This is a second read of an amendment to Chapter 10, the building ordinance. And this is to implement a third-party inspections and plan review process that is enabled at the state level. And there's just some kind of finer details that we need to set locally. And so this establishes a process for accepting those third-party reviewers, managing their credentials and making sure they are properly credentialed to be able to be doing the inspections and reviews, and then a process for us to follow for accepting those reports and whatnot. So this is an amendment to Chapter 10 and a second read, so we respectfully request that you adopt the amendment.
Any questions from the council on ordinance 2025-02-137? All right, hearing none, I will make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025, or I guess adopt the amendment to ordinance 2025-02-137. Do I get that right, City Attorney?
The ordinance is 2025-02-137. It's an amendment to prior the ordinances in the city.
Chapter 10. Okay, thank you. So then I will make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-02-137. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 3, ordinance number 2025-02-137 is hereby adopted. All right, next is on the second read is item B, which is ordinance 2025-02-138. Mr. Riley, you want to present this, or do you want me to?
Very briefly, this is a mirroring of the tax cap, or the occupational tax certificate cap that Gwinnett County has. This will leave all of our larger establishments in the same places they previously were under Gwinnett County, and we won't be expanding the occupational tax certificate tax to them as a part of the promise that you originally made.
Is there any questions for Mr. Riley on this one?
No, sir.
So just for the public's benefit, what this is that the county has a $20,000 cap on taxes for businesses that are extremely large businesses, right? I mean, we're talking very few in the city. Who has to pay $20,000? Multinational companies, that, for example, that are within our city limits. The county has a cap. Obviously, we did not. And so basically, this is a proposed ordinance that presents us to mirror what the county does. So keeps the campaign promise that we said that there'd be no additional taxes than what was already paid by the county, and then caps that at $20,000 to mirror exactly what's at the county level. Any other discussion about ordinance 2025-02-138? All right, hearing none, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-02-138. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Sullivan. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 3, ordinance 2025-02-138 is hereby adopted. Next up under action items K, we have resolution 2025-0330. I'll turn it over to Ms. Kiefer again.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution to amend what is currently adopted. The International Code Council biannually updates the building valuation chart in line with trends in construction costs, and so they do that in both February and August of every year. So in January, we adopted what had been released in August, and so that's been updated. So as those values go up and down, we want to be as current as possible, and so this is kind of referenced in the fee schedule with respect to building permits and how we calculate those. So this is just an updated version of that.
All right, any questions from the council about resolution 2025-0330?
Is it literally just only updating the chart?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on that resolution.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2025-03-30.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
You have a second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 3, Resolution 2025-0330, adopting the February 2025 International Code Council's Building Valuation Table is hereby adopted. Next up is Resolution 2025-0331. Ms. Kiefer, I'll turn it back to you on this one.
Thank you, sir. This is a request to relax some of the moratorium provisions in 3 different parts. The first one, we're requesting to relax it effective March 14th for land service permits that had previously been initiated by the county, or with the county, with a series of criteria that goes along with that related to the date that they were initiated, the date that they were terminated, and other different criteria. The second one being the allowance to accept new land service permits effective March 19th, 2025, and then the last one being an exemption for city-initiated legislative decisions, city-initiated tax amendments, map amendments, and special use permits to allow the city to be able to conduct those different activities while we're still working on getting the process up and running for non-city initiated amendments.
And Ms. Kiefer, obviously we had a question earlier, maybe you can address that now. Can you talk about how this lifting of this part of the moratorium for land disturbance permits or for zoning decisions, what that's going to look like moving forward?
So with the lifting that we're doing tomorrow, or requesting to do tomorrow, that we will still have to process kind of outside of our permitting system just because we need additional time for that. But starting the 19th, we are working to go live with the portal on that one to accept anything new that hadn't been processed within the county first. So we'll kind of look at those, whatever transfer permits we need to outside of the permitting portal. As far as the legislative decisions, those would be an application by the city. If there's any kind of rezonings, text amendments, we've already started kind of a running list of various text amendments as we've gotten in and kind of worked with the code that would be more effective for us to make some adjustments within that. So that would allow us to run that through the process. And there is a procedure within the code, and it's also got some state mandated timelines and public hearings that we would have to follow that are also represented in the code. So those would all be public processes, the legislative decisions, and they would eventually come back here in front of you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Kiefer?
Yeah, just a quick one on the B for the, new stuff. Is it, does that still work for acreage under an acre, that sort of thing? That's still in part of that?
Yeah. So what that means, with the LAA, we have the ability to review and issue those permits for anything under an acre. If it's over an acre, it's still going to have to go to GSWCC, Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission. Eventually, once we are able to do that for a period of time, the process for getting an MOU and being able to handle all that in-house, they want to be able to see us demonstrate the successful review process for under an acre for a period of time. So we've got to have some experience as a city under our belts for anything over an acre.
Good deal.
Okay, any other questions? All right, hearing none, I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-0331 to commence the moratorium for land disturbance permits and legislative decisions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 3, Resolution 2025-0331 is hereby adopted. Yeah, sorry, I should have said this in my mayor's opening comments. Our bathroom is out of order. I told you we're a work in progress, okay? So if you need to use the restroom, you got to go out that main exit door into the lobby and use the public restrooms in the lobby. Sorry, I apologize about that. All right, the next item is item KC, Resolution 2025-0332. This is a resolution to amend. Initially, we had adopted that Mr. Jamie Palmer would be the assistant city manager In light of what a good job he's doing and the work he's doing, we thought it would make more sense to go ahead and change his title to interim city manager for right now, while he continues to do his work. So is there any discussion about his title or resolution 2025-0332?
Nope, I think it's well deserved, but, no questions.
Nothing? Okay. Then I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution 2025-03-32, changing Jamie Palmer's title to, whatever it is, interim city manager.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 3, Mr. Jamie Palmer's title is now interim city manager for the city of Mulberry.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you. All right, moving on. We're moving pretty good here tonight. Okay, next item is a discussion. Item D, consideration of purchase of laptops or cell phones for the assistant city manager and city clerk. Mr. City Manager, I will let you, or Mr. Interim City Manager, let me go ahead and let you discuss that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and council members, for having me here today. We're mainly here just to talk about the fact that we're moving with the city. We got internet in the building. We need some equipment, and so this is just to have an open discussion and seek your approval to go ahead and start the process for opening up a business account. We get a couple of cell phones for city staff, as well as get a couple of laptops. We want to set the cap at about $2,000 for the laptop purchases, and then I'll be able to get kind of the business contract together and then bring that to you all to finalize for is what the monthly cell phone bills would be.
Okay. Is that per computer or?
No, $2,000 for both.
Gotcha, okay. Has there been any other thought about any other members that need computers? Any other staff?
We would like to start small, right? So the way that we're operating right now is technically myself and the clerk are the city employees, and then we have the consultants. What we would like to do is move our operations to city-owned devices. That way, if there were any FOIA requests or anything like that, then it's just a lot easier and simpler, right? So that's the main part for it to start there, and then we would look at in the future what other staff or consultants may need, our devices. Right now, our consultants operate on their, business accounts, which is established inside of our contracts. I just personally feel that as, city staff, as is meant to be laid out, need to have something that's city-owned equipment.
For sure. Will InterDev configure the computers for us and everything?
We're actually going to look at it. We'll work with InterDev. We're going to work with our consultants on what we can do. We did get our P cards for the purchase of the laptops, but we're going to see whatever we can do to get up and running as soon as possible. And then if there are any hiccups, then we would also like to have the permission by the mayor and council to talk with you all to kind of go. We've been working with Councilmember Sullivan and working with that on specs and things of that nature. And so we just want to be able to authorize this, because if we find something in the next couple of days before the next council meeting, we don't want to wait until that time to purchase it.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I will second. Councilmember Sullivan's our resident tech expert, so he's definitely the person to talk to about that. Do you need us to take a vote on that, or are we?
I would like to, just so that it's on the record that there's an approval with a cap of what we can do, and then we've left it under discussion so that we can move forward with discussing whatever the spec details may need to be, or the main thing was with waiting until the next council meeting. If we find something that kind of falls within what we need, we want to go ahead and be able to have the approval and move forward.
Okay.
When it comes to cell phones, I think everyone has a plan now where it seems like every 18 months they offer you a free cell phone. I'm not sure how that works for businesses. Is that if we were to sign up?
It's similar.
Is it
So the idea behind the cell phones, and I can discuss that a little bit, right? Most governments operate off what we call FirstNet, which is like a emergency responder system, and using FirstNet with AT&T would allow for us to just have immediate connection. So if there were a storm, disaster, anything of that nature, you usually see FirstNet come back up if all lines are down. And if generally when general public is down, we would still have some form of communication, right? So we would like to establish a FirstNet communication system. We would only go to 2. We would use to try to do the free cell phone system. They're usually a couple generations old, but coming from my last place of employment, that a 13 is not going to be the difference. A 12, no one cares about that, right? So if we can get the dollar cell phones, that's what we're going to do with the plan. The main thing is just having something that is Mulberry owned.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect.
Any other questions from the council?
I like it. Cheap phones. Good
Yeah,
phone.
that's it. Need something that dials out.
All right, then I will make a motion to allow the interim city manager and city clerk to purchase 2 laptops with a cap of $2,000 for both laptops, and then for them both to execute agreements for each of them to receive a cell phone from FirstNet. Is that sufficient as a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Then
All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 3, the clerk and the interim city manager are authorized to purchase the laptops as well as sign the agreements for 2 cell phones.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. All right, the next item, item L, is the first read of an ordinance. I will turn this over to Mr. Riley.
Just very briefly, we're gonna have a startup at the court. We, probably the first will be next month. We need an ordinance to go forward in the event that someone doesn't, respond to the invitation of the summons to come to court, to make it, no longer just a request, and that is what this does. It provides for, an ordinance that is a violation to fail to appear pursuant to a lawfully served summons to this court, and it would give the opportunity then for the solicitor to sign the accusation, as well as the judge to issue a warrant with a bond. It'll be a bondable warrant, but then they'll have to either come in and pay the bond and reset their case, or then if we have to go out and touch them, ready to go to the jail, and then we would set a bond from there. It's the first reading.
All right, that'll conclude the first read of ordinance 2025-03-139. The next item, ladies and gentlemen, on our calendar is an executive session for 2 purposes. One, to discuss litigation. Of course, we still have litigation pending against the city, and then to also discuss some employment matters we have going on. And so if those of you, for those is your first time with us, you might not know what this is. So executive session, we're going to retreat. All of us are going to go back, and this section is not open to the public because we're talking about those 2 items, litigation and employment. And so this is a good time for, if you want to leave, this is a good kind of natural breaking point. Obviously, you are more than welcome to stick around and stay if you want to. We will just come back, we'll sit here, and we will adopt any executive session items, and then we'll adjourn at that point. So if you do decide to leave right now, let me just be the first to thank you for coming tonight. Obviously, we appreciate the civic engagement we have here in Mulberry. I mean, I think we have the best citizens, anywhere in the state of Georgia here. So we appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you at the next meeting in 2 weeks. All right. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to
Thank you.
retreat into executive
Thank you.
session.
Thank you.
you have a second.
That's why he makes the big bucks around here. All right. So we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Okay.
No discussion.
Yeah. No discussion. All in favor? All right. By a vote of 3, we will now retreat into executive session. All right. Thank you. All right. We are back. At this time, I will make a motion to end executive session. Do I have a second?
Sure, everybody.
Second. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right. By a vote of 3, executive session is hereby ended. Is there any other matters that we need to attend to from executive session?
No.
Hearing none, I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? All right. By a vote of 3, we're hereby adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you.